I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, March the 20th, brought to you in part by Performance Livestock Analytics. I've gotten to know co-founder Dustin Balsley. He developed this software just to help small producers compete. Performance Beef is as easy to use as your cell phone and will help you manage your cattle. For more information, go to performancelivestockanalytics.com. They need your fed cattle, guys. And they tipped their hand late last week. I'm talking about the Packers. They tipped their hand. They tried to work the market down. They tried to break the board. They tried to act like they didn't need them. And then it came to Friday morning, and they're calling their feeders, and they're trying to get cattle early in the morning. They're sending trucks as soon as they call them. They're hauling cattle in there early in the morning on Friday. They're hauling more cattle in on Saturday, which nobody expected. And they need your fat cattle. We haven't seen any fat cattle trade so far this week, but we did see some at a fat cattle auction in Yankton, South Dakota. Greg Ryken's got the best fat cattle auction in the nation at Stockman's Livestock Market there in Yankton, and they sold fat cattle dollars and dollars higher, and your major packers were active players in there all the way to the top of the market for the highest grading cattle, for the best cattle that they have available. We haven't seen that in months, guys. They've been buying cattle, they've been needing cattle all along, but they've just been kind of bottom feeders. They've been letting the regional packers and the order buyers and the railers guys get in there and buy those best cattle, but not this Tuesday. They were after the fat cattle. They wanted the fat cattle. They need them, guys. So hold to your guns, guys. We can get another buck or two or three. We can break this all-time record high fat cattle market this week if the few of you guys, and I know that you guys are the only ones holding this whole thing together for everybody else, but the few of you guys that are still selling negotiated fed cattle, if you're holding to your guns, ask more for the cattle, significantly more, and you're likely to get it. We have seen that the fires, we've been talking about the fires for the last several weeks in the northeastern panhandle there, and now the fires have finally kind of burned themselves out, including the big smokehouse fire there. There's been a lot of people with outpouring of support, and they've been generous, and they've lent their hay, they've lent their money, they've lent fencing supplies and feed, and they've raised money, and it's just been a great outpouring of support for those that were unfortunate enough to be victims of the big fires there in the northeastern Texas panhandle. But now we are seeing the lawyers getting aggressive because it appears that Xcel Energy, which is our electric provider there in the Texas panhandle, it appears that they may be at fault. I don't know whether for sure they are or not, but it appears that they may be at fault, and they would be one outfit that could pay a big check to those that were affected by the fire. And now we're seeing class action suits and things like that going on, and if indeed they were at fault for the fire, then they need to pay. But we'll see how this plays out. But there may be someone at fault here for the big fire, including the smokehouse fire, which is the biggest one that we had. We've seen all-time highs again on Tuesday. Every day it's a new high, and we see all-time highs again, especially on middleweight cattle, 6 and 7 weight cattle. Well, we saw all new all-time highs again, and some of those people are taking them to feed, and some of them are taking them to grass. If those cattle have a thin condition, a green condition, and they're ready to go to grass and then gain 250 or 300 pounds on grass, we're not scared that they're going to weigh close to 1,000 pounds coming off grass. We're handling higher weight cattle than we ever have before. We're taking them to higher weights than we ever have before. So people are buying heavier stalker type cattle than we've ever seen before. Talk about a big special sale that's coming up here. Actually, there's going to be 3 big special sales, and they're going to be at Kingsville Livestock Auction in Kingsville, Missouri. That's just a little bit south and east of Kansas City, Missouri. My friends, the Anstein family, it's a family operation there. Rick Anstein, Jeremy Anstein, Jared Anstein, they're doing an awesome job running that sale, and they have secured the dispersal of the Circle A genetics there that were from Central Missouri. So they've got 3 big special sales coming. They're all going to be on Friday. One is going to be this Friday, March the 22nd. The next one's going to be 2 weeks later on April the 5th, and then on April the 19th. They're going to be selling premium genetics, guys. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to buy cattle like this. They're going to have 3,800 head all together. The first sale coming up this Friday is going to include 1,000 fall pairs, 200 first calf heifer pairs, 600 young 3 to 7 year old pairs, and then plus 200 head of short and solid mouth pairs, and another 325 head of fall bred heifers. All the females are going to be a purebred Angus from the Circle A ranch there, and they're going to be bred to easy calving, 3/4 Angus, 1/4 Wagyu, and that's all from the Circle A operation there, guys. But it's going to be unbelievable, and if you want to get in the business, you want to get into premium type cattle, this is your opportunity. If you can't get to Kingsville Livestock Auction in Kingsville, Missouri, it's just a little burg there that sits south of I-70. You can get on to DVAuction.com and you can view and bid that sale. Get a hold of them early at Kingsville Livestock Auction. Tell them you want to be approved. Give them your information. Get approved so you can view and bid those premium replacement cattle. Let's talk about your board. On Tuesday, April live cattle futures were down 52 cents at 188.50. June was down 40 at 185 smooth, and your back months were down 32 to up as much as 40 cents. Not a big loss there after we saw big gains on Monday. March feeder cattle down 52 cents at 250.67. April down just 2 cents at 255.07. And then your back months were mostly higher. They were down 20 close up, and then as you got farther out, they got higher, as much as $1.07 higher on your farthest out traded months of feeder cattle. Talk about your grains. May corn was up 3.5 cents a bushel at 439.5. May beans are actually down 2.25 cents at 1185.5. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for May up 9 cents at 582 3/4. Fat cattle trade, no direct sales of fat cattle so far. Of course, it's early. We've only gone through Monday and Tuesday, and that's not uncommon, but sometimes you see a few weak sisters give in at some steady money. Not this week. They are holding their guns, guys. No direct trade of fat cattle out of your 5 area feeding region, but we did have that big market finder there at Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota. They had 1,350 head of fats in overnight. They had 2,000 in by the time they got their wholesale in. Conventional fat cattle, just your straight up fed steers and heifers, sold $5 to $7 higher, from 186 to 192.50. Now your program fat cattle, your drug-free and non-implanted cattle, were $1 to $3 higher, and not a big premium for those, from 186 to 193.25, with your extreme top being 81 head of 1,516 pound, mostly prime heifers there, bringing 193.25. Excellent fat cattle auction there at Yankton, South Dakota. And like I mentioned earlier, your majors were very active even at the top of the market. Box beef cutout values were mixed. Choice cuts down 11 cents at 313.22. Selects up 13 cents at 303.18. Your slaughters running quite a bit better than last week. 242,000 through the first 2 days of the week. That's 9,000 better than last week. 9,000 less than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Livestock Risk Services, that's Dakota Moss there in Oklahoma City, and all the agents that work with him. They are your LRP specialists, guys. Protect yourself. Look out front. It starts off on your feeder cattle futures, guys, and they've been higher way out front. Look out there when you might want to sell those cattle coming off grass. Pick you a price there. Pick a time when you want to sell those cattle. When they settle up with your CME Cash Feeder Cattle Index, which always evaporates back, so it's going to be good for you. Check them out. For more information, go to livestockriskservices.com. Talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DVAuction based on an 800-pound steer up through your middle 12 states cash auction steer. Late in the day on Tuesday, sitting at $253.40. That's another $1.08 higher than the end of Monday's trade. Your latest CME Cash Feeder Cattle Index was 251.02. Talk about your big sales on Tuesday. Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri. That's a typically good run where we can get a good trend there. They had 2,100 head through the ring, another 1,180 head through their in-house video they do with help from DVAuction. They do such a good job there. Through the ring, they're feeders, and they were kind of on the plainer end compared to the previous week. But feeders were mostly steady. Calves were steady to $5 higher. Your stocker buyers were not as panicked as they have been. They weren't quite as aggressive as they have been, but the stocker type cattle still sold higher. But we're getting closer and closer and closer to that April 15th, and we're just barely now where you can buy cattle, get them in the background and lot, and feel comfortable about turning those cattle out. And I've told you guys, you got to get this cattle marketed. You can't just sit and watch this market go up forever. Let's talk about your NationalBeefWire stick-out sale of the day. It was Kimball Livestock Exchange in Kimball, South Dakota. About 4,200 head of feeders went through the ring there. Look at this automated marker report from Kimball, South Dakota. Look at your best tested weights. How about 405 head of 6-weight steers? They averaged 670 pounds at $300.02 on the average. How about 828 head of 7-weight steers in Kimball? Averaged 743 at $283.67. There were 802 head of 8-weight steers. They averaged 853 at $253.54. And 592 head of 9-weight steers averaged 938 at $242.61 on the weighted average price. Couple of groups of heifers that were well tested. How about 317 head of 6-weight heifers averaged 656 at $269.57. 226 out of 7-weight heifers averaged 749 at $252.09. Great sale there at Kimball, South Dakota at Kimball Livestock Exchange. How about some individual quotes from all around the circuit? How about 4 state stockyards in Exeter, Missouri? They sell 52 steers in extreme southwest Missouri. They weigh 535 and bring $3.50 a pound. How about Beaver County stockyards in No Man's Land, Oklahoma Panhandle there? They sell 72 steers, weighed 680 at $3 a pound. Huron Continental Marketing in Huron, South Dakota sells 66 steers, weighed 855 at $265. Big time quote there. An individual quote from Kimball Livestock Exchange was 79 steers, weighed 790 at $275.25. Are you kidding me? But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Fredonia Livestock Auction. That's my buddy Brad Hahn there. He has excellent sales. He sells 150 head of long-time wean fancy black steers. They weighed 685 and bring $313.75. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.